We good to go, Alicia?
Yes, whenever you're ready.
Great. Good morning and welcome, everyone. It is 9 a.m. My name is Barbara DeBreen, and I'm the chairperson of the Committee of Adjustment, and I call the meeting to order. The committee members include members of council. However, we sit here at this table as the Committee of Adjustment and not as members of council. Our jurisdiction lies solely with matters of consents and minor variance application. The secretary of the committee is Alicia Milne. This is a hearing to consider applications for minor variances and consents within the Township of Southgate and is held under the provisions of the Planning Act 1990. This hearing will be in accordance with the Provincial Planning Act, the Municipal Act, and the Township of Southgate official plan. May I get confirmation of the agenda, Alicia? Sorry, may I get confirmation of the agenda from the committee? Mover and seconder? Joan and Martin. Be it resolved that the committee confirm the agenda as presented. Any opposed? That is carried. Declaration of pecuniary interest. Hearing none, I can remind the committee that they can declare it at any time should something arise throughout the meeting. Are there any adoption of minutes? I get approval of the minutes from the November 22nd, 2023. Yep. Wow. Where's the year going? And the January 24th, 2024 meetings as presented. I see Brian's hand as a mover. Need a seconder. Joan, thank you. Any opposed? Any errors, omissions, or any opposed? That's carried. I'm trying to move this along too fast. I will ask that anyone speaking about an application to state their full name and address for the record. Please keep all remarks relevant to the consent or minor variance application before us, as the Committee of Adjustment has no jurisdiction on any other matters. Any materials submitted to the committee for viewing will remain the property of the Committee of Adjustment and will be available for public viewing in the application file and may be placed online. The first, please direct any remarks and questions to the chairperson of the committee. This will enable the hearing to be conducted in an organized manner. The first file, A3-23 Southgate Sheep. The purpose of the proposed variance is to allow an 8.5 meter by 4.88 meter coverall type storage addition to the existing 225.5 square meter workshop approved as an on-farm diversified use for part of the site under bylaw 2020-096. The proposed addition would be 7 meters from the side lot line and partly outside the area zoned agricultural exception A1-462 for the on-farm diversified use. The required side yard is 15 meters minimum. A minor variance of 8 meters on minimum side yard is proposed. The effect of the proposed minor variance is to permit construction of a coverall type addition beside the existing 225.5 square meter workshop just outside the area zoned for on-farm diversified use. The location of the lands are concession 13, lot 31, geographic township of Proughton, township of Southgate, also known as 186375 Gray Road 9. Is there a request to defer or withdraw the application?
There have been none received.
Wonderful. We can proceed. May I please have clarification that the sign was posted?
Yes, Chair DeBreen, sign was posted and notice was given in accordance with the Planning Act.
Thank you, Alicia. I'll now ask the planner, Bill White, to review all comments received and present his staff report.
Thank you, Chair DeBreen. There were no comments opposing this application. They were received with general information from the County of Gray, the Southgate Public Works Department, the Historic Saugeen Métis, and the Saugeen Valley Conservation Authority.
Were there any comments from the public?
There are not that I am aware of.
Okay. Would you like to elaborate on your report?
Sure. We've reviewed the proposal to establish a covered storage area, for lack of a better way of wording it, on the side of the existing on-farm diversified use. The variance requested is on side yard setback. We have not had any concerns expressed to us as far as the operation of this particular on-farm diversified use. The format of this structure is more of a coverall type building, and it's part of the loading area of the facility based on the drawings that we've been supplied with. The reduced setback is still allows for reasonable maneuvering on the property. We're recommending approval, but that the covered storage area where the loading dock is be removed from the 600 square meters of total outdoor storage already allowed on the site. So some other location on the property would not be allowed to have outdoor storage on it. Now, we don't believe there'll be a tremendous impact from this variance, and that it is considered minor, desirable for the appropriate development of the lands, and maintaining the intent and purpose of the official plan and zoning bylaw. So we're recommending approval with one condition.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the committee at this time? Monica?
Yes, good morning, everybody, and thank you, Chair. Just through you, Chair, to Bill, I just wanted to ask, is just in regards to future development plans, just wanted to know if we have an understanding if this variance is part of a larger plan for development on the property, or that hasn't been discussed. This is pretty much what they're looking to do.
Go ahead, Bill.
If I may, through you, Chair DeBreen, thank you. This appears to be a one-off. I'm not aware of any additional plans that are contemplated that would require variances, and variances by their nature are essentially one-offs. If they were looking at something overall, we would be, more changes, increasing the zoned area, increasing the size of the on-farm diversified use, if that were possible, increasing the amount of outdoor storage. We would probably be encouraging a zoning process on that, but this appears to be a one-off that was contemplated in order to improve operations. So I don't see it as part of a trend, and for that we would, have to have numerous more variances coming forward on this site.
May I have a follow-up?
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Bill. And just one more thing I was thinking about was the safety and accessibility. So just was wondering if there was clarification on how the variance may affect emergency access and safety regulations for the property. But I think that's something that was already addressed.
If I may, through the chair, then there are alternate driveways you can, based on the layout of the site provided, there's still room to kind of maneuver around, and there's quite a large parking gravel area around the sides of the building.
Oh.
To the west and north and south, and there is still room to, although it's not entirely showing clearly on the information we've provided, there is still room to get around the side of the building, even with this addition.
Thank you. Are there any other questions from the committee? I have one question, Bill. This is not in addition to the outside storage that was already approved through bylaw for the on-farm diversified use. This is simply covering the loading area, for which, so they're not expanding the 600 square meters that is permitted for outside storage.
If I may, through the chair, that's correct. In fact, as a condition, we're recommending that the amount of outdoor storage, even though this isn't new storage, we're actually asking that the outdoor storage be reduced. That's to correspond with the so-called covered storage in this case. So that's our recommended condition. The committee doesn't have to accept that, and they would still only be allowed 600 square meters of storage. This really isn't outdoor storage per se, because it appears just to be for covering the loading area, but it was our recommendation that where we seem to have a few of these coming forward. I think committee granted something similar before, but it was actually covering storage. So I think to be kind of consistent, we would ask that the outdoor storage be reduced. It just makes it more desirable from a development perspective.
And I did see that in the recommendations, but it was just wanted to confirm that we weren't expanding that. Thank you. Are there any others in attendance that would like to speak in support of the application? Is there anyone present that would like to speak in opposition of the application? I'll ask the committee again if there are any other questions or comments at this time.
I have
Okay.
one, Barb.
Yes, Martin, sorry.
Looking at the drawing, Bill, I guess there's no other way they can do this, this storage. They can't put it next to the building. It has to stick out because it looks like the forklifts or whatever they use are going to be going right through. It says there's 2 doors. So, I guess that's the only way they could put it out there, isn't it?
It seems like, if I may, through the chair, there is it appears to be another loading area in the front of that building. If you look on page 3 of our report, there's a bit of a floor plan that they supplied. So it looks like there is a loading area in the front. But
Oh, either way.
yeah, they wouldn't need a variance then if they were to put it there, but I gather they felt like this was what they needed for their operations.
Thank you.
Thank you. May I request a mover and a second to grant, refuse, or defer the application? Brian, you will unmute.
Sorry, I will move that we grant.
Thank you. Have a get a seconder to grant the application. Martin? I will now read the recommendation. Be it resolved that the Committee of Adjustment receives staff report PL 2024-011 for information that the application for minor variance be approved, granted, subject to the following condition: that the covered storage space be considered part of the 600 square meters outside storage approved in rezoning bylaw 2020-096. Any further discussion? Any opposed? That's carried. The decision of the Committee of Adjustment is to grant the application with the condition as set forth. The applicant will have 2 years in which the conditions must be met. The decision of the Committee of Adjustment. Nope, we did that. Great. Thank you, Alicia, for the script. That concludes that portion for that file. The next file is A6-23, Jim Junker. The purpose of the proposed minor variance is to recognize an addition to an existing structure with an interior side yard of 10.9 meters. The required interior side yard in section 6.2E of the zoning bylaw in an agricultural 1 zone is 15 meters minimum. The minor variance of 4.1 meters is requested on interior side yard. The effect of the proposed minor variance application would be to provide relief from the required interior side yard to permit the building addition, maintaining the same interior side yard as the existing structure. The location of the subject land, concession 14, part lot 10, RP 16R10081 Part 2, Geographic Township of Egremont, Township of Southgate, also known as 492310 Southgate Road 49. Alicia, is there a request to defer or withdraw the application?
There was none received, Chair DeBreen.
Thank you. We can proceed. I will now ask, Alicia, can you provide clarification that the sign was posted?
Yes, Chair DeBreen, the sign was posted and notice was given in accordance with the Planning Act.
Thank you. And we have Bill White, the planner, to review his report and any comments that may have been received.
Thank you, Chair DeBreen. We received comments with no concerns from the historic Saugeen Métis and Southgate Public Works. The County of Grey did not object to the application. They note the requirement in the official plan for an environmental impact study due to the proximity to a provincially significant wetland within 120 meters or roughly 400 feet. But they believe that under these circumstances, for this proposal, that requirement is not necessary. Similarly, the Saugeen Valley Conservation Authority identified the natural heritage issues regarding the significant wetland, and they have not objected to the application. And Doris and Keith Aitken wrote a letter. They are indicating they do not oppose the application, no objections to the application, but they are noting that there is an easement registered at the Land Registry Office back in 1976, and they would like to be made aware of any proposed changes that might affect their access under that easement. And I believe that easement was to allow access to maintain a drain. Chair DeBreen, did you want me to go into my report, or?
Yes. Oh, yes, please. Sorry. Thank you.
We've had a look at the application from the Planning Act requirements relating to minor variances. It's an interesting property with the wetlands kind of surrounding the site, and we have picked up in our report the Saugeen Valley hazard mapping, which covers the existing garage, does not cover the existing house. So we have looked at the impact of that mapping in that it would require a environmental impact study. Most of our information and comments on natural heritage issues now comes from the county. They are indicating that an environmental impact study is not a requirement for a proposal such as this. If there was concern from the committee that there were environmental impacts, the alternative would be to put the addition in the front of the garage that appears to be outside of the 120 meter regulated area. But with both the Conservation Authority and the county not requiring an EIS, we look at it from then a practical point of view. It maintains the existing building wall. There is a tree kind of area between there and the adjacent property. There is no other nearby home or building that would be affected by this variance. There is still room to get around the garage. It makes sense from a layout perspective. Putting it in front, the addition in front, would put it closer to the home and kind of minimum impact on being able to maneuver around on that garage to some degree. On that basis, we consider it to be minor, desirable for the appropriate development of the property and maintaining the intent and purpose of the official plan. And believe the Sauging Valley may have indicated that they require a fill permit. And if that's the case, that they get that permit from the Conservation Authority as a condition of the variance.
Thank you. Do any members of the committee have any questions at this time? Martin?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Bill, on page 62, there's a map. I was going to ask before the meeting what it is exactly showing, but it's very unclear.
So that's the one with the big blue blobs on it?
I'm just pulling it up.
Martin, is that
Yes.
page, are you referring to page 3 of Bill's report? Because
Oh,
not
sorry.
everybody downloads PDFs.
Oh, okay. It's a map in his report. It must be a survey. The only thing I could see on it was dated like 2011, Bill. So I'm just assuming it's a survey of the land, and I just wondered why that was put in there.
I'm not sure.
Neither am I.
So I have a map of the entire property, and then I have a map kind of the garage area that the applicant supplied. And then there was a kind of weird looking map that shows the Sauging Valley regulated area. It has basically big blue blobs that kind of cover almost all of this property except for where the home is. So I'm not sure what if something came out in yours with some form of anomaly.
That's fine. I can
Big blue map is definitely weird, but it does show it's in the regulated area.
Okay. Yeah, thank you then.
Okay. Are there is there anyone in attendance that would like to speak in support of this application? Sorry, Alicia, yes.
Sorry, I found what Member Shipston was looking at. It was part of the application package that the applicant submitted. There is a survey. It's the last page of the application document. So that's where it's included.
Do you want to, could you put it up on screen, Alicia, so that Bill might be able to respond to Martin's question?
Yep, I can share it here. Just give me
Thank
one
you.
moment. Yeah.
There we go. Is that what you're referring to, Martin? $10. You're muted, Martin.
Yeah, that's $10. That's twice today. Yeah, I can see it better now. It's just a plan of survey, Bill. So sorry for wasting your time there, but
Thank you, Alicia. Thank you, Martin.
thank you, Alicia.
Are there any others in attendance that would like to speak in support of this application? Is there anyone present that would like to speak in opposition of this application? Doris, did you want to speak to this application, whether or not you are in favor or opposed?
Yes, thank you, Chair. I believe it's just a point of order. One other mention in our communication with the township was to mention the building has already gone up and has been constructed. And so we just wanted that noted on record.
Thank you, Doris. I was
Thank you.
actually going to get to that and just ask about that. Thank you, Doris, and thank you for joining us this morning. I will again ask the committee members if there's a requirement for further discussion, questions, comments, and I will ask Bill White, our planner, to speak to that. I too noted, I'm familiar with the property and had noted that the building had already been constructed or appeared to have been constructed. Doris has confirmed that. So this is permission after the fact?
If I may share, yes, this was brought to us by the building department closer to when I started to become involved with the township's planning service. As I recall, and of course, I have not been to this site, but there was some kind of a barn type addition put up without a permit, and the building department became aware of that. What's proposed here, and I don't know if it's they've gone ahead and constructed the full addition, but the proposal was that the barn type addition would come down and that a new addition would be made. So yes, there was this is after the fact approval, but I believe they're actually going to enlarge the addition. I wasn't sure that they built this addition that they're proposing in the time since the fall when we first looked at it. I think they intended to take down that old one and put up a new one. Hopefully they haven't done that. But in any event, we have to look at it from a remedy perspective. The only alternative would be to have them remove the entire structure if they've in fact built this full addition without a building permit. And there would be other mechanisms for penalties under the Building Code Act that the chief building official could take if he has to inspect the new addition after the fact and charge for building fees and uncover structural issues to make sure it's adequate and so forth. But I wasn't aware that they had constructed a new addition, that there was a barn type one that went on and it is to come down.
Okay. Does that satisfy your question, Doris?
As far as we're aware, there is now a building where there wasn't. Just to clarify, it is a structure that was not there, so I'm not clear on what Bill's addressing in terms of there was a building, but anyway, as far as we know, there is a new structure where there wasn't a structure. So
Thank you. And we are reassured that the building department is already engaged and looking after this. So we can continue, I think. If there are no, Joan, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you to the chair. Thanks, Bill, for answering the question, because after reading the letter from Doris and Keith Aiken, I too wanted to address that if the building went up before and what would be the consequences and how would that be addressed now that the application came in and it's being looked after. So thanks for the answer. I suppose there will be more questions and answers coming up about this particular case at some point in time. Thank you.
Okay, so if there are no other questions or comments, may I request a mover and a seconder to grant, refuse, or defer the application? Ryan, how would you like to proceed?
I'll move that we grant.
Monica, are you going to second that?
Yes.
Thank you. So we have be it resolved that the Committee of Adjustment received staff report PL 2024-012 for information and that the application for minor variance be approved subject to one condition, that any requirements of the Saugeen Valley Conservation Authority fill and construction permit be met. And no further discussion. Any opposed? That's carried. The decision of the Committee of Adjustment is to grant the application. The applicant shall have 2 years in which the condition must be met. That concludes this portion for this file. We can move on to file number 3.
Hi, Chair. I just need to excuse myself. So I
Okay.
I have a commitment that I need to attend to.
Okay, well, thank you for joining for this portion.
Thank you so much. Bye, everyone. Have a great day.
Bye-bye. File number 3A823, Brian and Ashley Mays. The purpose of the minor variance is to address encroachment of an existing deck built in the required front yard setback to provide access to the front of the home. The applicant's existing deck projects 1.8 meters into the front yard. Section 5.1H of the zoning bylaw permits unenclosed porches and decks to project only 1 meter into the required yard, provided such projection is not more than 2 meters high. A variance of 0.8 meters is required on maximum permitted projection for an enclosed deck into the required front yard. The effect of the minor variance is to recognize an existing deck built in the required front yard setback as access into the existing home. The location of the subject land is Plan 321, Lot 4, Main Street, Main East, Geographic Township of Proton, Township of Southgate, also known as 185474 Grey County Road 9. Is there a request for deferral or withdrawal of the application, Alicia?
No, Chair Dobreen, there have been none received.
Great, we can proceed. I will, may I have clarification that the sign was posted?
Yes, Chair Dobreen, the sign was posted and notice was given in accordance with the Planning Act.
Wonderful. I will now ask Planner Bill White to review all comments received and present his staff report. Take it away, Bill.
Thank you, Chair Breen. The County of Grey, Historic Saugeen Métis, Southgate Public Works, and Saugeen Valley Conservation Authority had no concerns regarding the application. As far as our report, we've reviewed it based on the requirements of the Planning Act for minor variance. We've had a look at the street view, which is relatively recent on the site from this fall. This deck is under 2 meters in height, and it appears to be about 0.8 meters, or if you're a foot person, slightly under 2 or 3 feet, slightly under 3 feet further into the required front yard than would normally be permitted. It is reasonable access to the front door of the home. In terms of its impact on surrounding properties, it would be negligible. There are some homes in the area that either are or at least used to be fairly close to the front here. So we believe the variances are minor, desirable for the appropriate development of the lands, and maintain the intent and purpose of the official plan and zoning bylaw. And based on certainly the street view, it looks like this may be also an after impact, but after construction variance. But it may be that for such a small amount, they weren't aware of it till further measurements were taken. So I can't speak to that part of it, but this certainly is quite a small encroachment, and we're recommending this approval.
Thank you, Bill. Are there any questions from the committee at this time? I see no hands. I would note that there is a church, that former church, which is now a residence, that has quite a significant number of stairs in the front, but that this is more of a platform to allow access to that front door. So thank you, Bill, for that explanation. Are there any others in attendance that would like to speak in support of this application? Is there anyone present that would like to speak in opposition of the application? Do committee members have any further questions or comments? May I request a mover and seconder to grant, refuse, or defer the application? Martin, how would you like to proceed?
I think, as it says, it's minimal. I would like to say yes. Grant,
Thank you. That's okay. Seconder? Joan, you want to second that? Thank you. A second. We've got to go to the resolution. Be it resolved that the Committee of Adjustment receives staff report PL 2024-013 for information and that the application for minor variance be granted, approved. Any opposed? That is carried. Thank you, Mr. Mass, for joining us. The decision of the committee is to grant the application, and the applicant shall have 2 years in which the conditions must be met, but I think they've already been met, so we're good to go. Notice of decisions from today's meeting will be signed electronically by the members and distributed accordingly per the Planning Act. We can now have the committee decisions may be appealed pursuant to section 117D of the Planning Act within 20 days of the date of notice to the Ontario Land Tribunal. And I have one more motion. I need a mover and seconder to adjourn. Brian? Seconder, Joan? Awesome. Any opposed?